We just finished upgrading collections in Builderius. The big changes are full HTML tag control, better nesting, and cleaner output. But let me show you the complete system and what you can build with it. Here is a restaurant menu presented as a table. Now, if I right-click and inspect, you can see that this is a real table. It's not some bunch of divs shaped up to look like a table. It's an actual table, semantic and proper. This is coming from custom post type meals, and it's using ACF fields for data. So pure dynamic tables can come from the collection element. Now, here is the same data, same meal data, but presented completely differently. Here we're using details elements, and we're using taxonomy meal type to print the values of these details elements or accordions. When I click something like main course, you see posts that have that term assigned. So it's a nested posts loop within the loop of taxonomy terms. Same data source, completely different presentation. Now let me show you something more complex, but not more complicated to create. Here we're looking at data coming from a WordPress menu. This WordPress menu is very complex. It goes 12 levels deep. It uses the description field. It's a native field coming from WordPress, and some ACF fields for prices and calories. If you inspect this, you will see it produces completely clean HTML with proper nested lists and so on. And if we check here, we will see that the nested lists will not be rendered unless there is children elements present. This is not CSS hiding. It's not rendering the HTML if there's nothing to show. Now, here is a post grid showing cards representing posts. It's the same custom post type called meals with same data, right? And if you take a closer look, you will see that each one has a small item telling us how many reviews have been added to each particular post. And if you take a look here, you will see there is no such element. And so if we click on this item that has comment, that is called has comments, you can see again conditions in action. We are checking if the number of comments is greater than 0. If we move into a template for individual meals, you can see such reviews. Again, using recursion, we can show as many comment levels as necessary. And this is the last example. This navigation here, one of the items has a mega menu. This content is coming from ACF, including the ACF repeater and post object. Let's see quickly how it's set up. If we go into the menu, you can see that this item has ACF fields such as the true-false toggle, and then it has the repeater field, which allows you to choose which dishes to show, as well as some other fields as well. You will see that now I have changed what to highlight in my mega menu. Here is something important about how this works. This collection here is connected to a meal custom post type posts. Let me show you. So it's coming from this area here, from these posts that have some categories and some custom post fields. And we get this nice table here. However, we have similar data also as an options table with repeaters. So what happens if I come here and I detach my collection from custom post types source and instead connect it to the options table? It rebuilds itself just like with the posts. This means you can create your loop structures once and reuse them in multiple places with multiple sources. Now, here is another example. Remember that complicated menu with 12 levels deep links? Like here, for example. Here is that menu. Right? And each menu has the description, has some ACF fields, and so on. So what happens if I take that same structure here, this menu? Certainly I can't just link that to my CPT or my options page. Oh, it seems I can. Of course, it's not nested because this data is no longer nested, but you don't have to have a nested data to use the query that is ready for nesting. So this is the power of separate data from the HTML structure that you have in Builderius. So you must be asking yourself, okay, nice, but how do I build this? How complicated is it to build such table, for instance? Let's do that. I'll go to a new page. I call it demo, publish, and edit with Builderius. I'll choose my main and add a section so that I have some nice beginning, and I'm going to write demo as well. So let's add the table. It doesn't have any dynamic data in it, but it's going to serve us to more easily build a table. I'm going to add a collection into my container now. First thing, I'm going to change it into tBody. And this is because if you look at the table here, you'll see that the tBody has these rows that repeat. So each post that we pull is going to be one row. Going back to my collection, I'm going to connect it to my data source now, which is this custom post type loop. And I'm going to move this tBody right here. I will now choose one table row and drop it into my template and delete the rest. Okay, so let's stop and talk about the collection for a moment. The looping mechanism is the collection element itself. It can now have any HTML element that you want. You can even use custom ones. We are here recommending some, but you can just keep typing and type whatever you would like to use. Each collection in it has a template element. This is a ghost element. It doesn't render any HTML. It is primarily used to define what should be looped. Inside it, you can put one or more elements that you want to loop. And that's it. So let's now add some data. So I'm going to go into this first column and I'm going to pull, let's say, a title. And see here under loop category that I have a title data source. And I'm getting my title printed. So I'm going to put euro here and maybe just type price before the dynamic tag. This allows you to combine static and dynamic data in the same element, simplifying your structure. Finally, I see now that this price repetition doesn't make sense. So I will remove that part from the table. And that is it. This is how easy it is to create the table. We can now check and inspect and see that the result is truly a valid HTML table. Okay, so let's now work with nested data. Let's choose some other source that I know that there is nested data in it. And we had that menu available, so let's use that. So it's going to be here. It's called all items, all food nav menu items. Right. So at first it's just printing the top level items because my loop here is set to act like that. We will not be doing this in the table HTML, so I'm going to pull this all the way out here and delete everything else. Then I'm going to change my t-body into ul, and this is going to be li. And just like that, I have a unordered list. Here we can even add something like so it's a bit easier to visually parse. And we can see that this price is now printing 0 on all of these. And you might think this is a bug, but it's not. If you take a look, you can see that these items are not actually meals, but the categories of meals, so they don't have a price. But the children elements will have the price. So how do you create a nested loop within Builderius? We select our template and we add a sub collection. This is a new element that makes it easier to capture nested data. So adding sub collection, it works and looks just like a normal collection, but it's made to work within a collection. So I'm gonna select UL again, and then for nested data, I'm just gonna choose this children elements. Then I'm gonna add an li. To make it easier for me, I'm going to duplicate this item and drag it here and delete the one I created. Okay. So let's now use conditions. I will open this price element, go to conditions, set my conditions to dynamic data and pull, just type price, and then check whether is, for instance, the value is greater than 0. We have to repeat this on the top level elements as well. And now we can see that we have the prices only on those items that actually have a price declared. So far, we have a nested query, but this nesting is only one level deep. So in most other tools, or maybe even all other builders, you would have to repeat this until you cover all the levels. This is all but not efficient. So let's do it how you properly do it in Builderius. We will remove this content here completely. We'll also remove the template. And inside the sub collection, we will add a new element. And you can just type template, but now use the recursive template. This item will replicate everything that is present in this template as many times as the data is available. In order to do that, in order to know which template to replicate, we need to go to that template and give it a name. I'll just call it meal. Then I'm going to go to recursive, and it's going to be available for me now. And now it's going to go as deep as necessary to cover all the items in this loop. So that's the complete collection system in Builderius. You can choose any HTML tag, tables, lists, details, select whatever you need. You have clean HTML output and visual conditions inside loops. You can use sub-collections for nested data. You can use recursive templates for unlimited depth of recursion. And because it is all GraphQL, you can reuse your queries and separate them and make them reusable, both the data and the loops themselves. One collection structure, any data source, any HTML. That's Builderius collections. Thank you, and see you in the next video.